Hello and welcome to Getting Your Money's Worth, the show that focuses on value. I'm Judith West and our guest today is Janice Lathen, founder of Powering Potential. That's a very mighty topic, powering potential. Little did you know what was going to come out of a trip you took a few years ago on a safari.
That's right.
Right. So let's go back to the safari and let's go through the beginning of this in a brief summary.
Well, I decided I wanted to go on a safari to Tanzania, and I decided to learn a little bit of Swahili before I went so that I could speak to the people in their own language as a way of showing basic respect. So the safari company, Kibo Safaris, took us to visit a secondary school. And we all stood in front of the classroom, and I said, Jina langu ni Janice, mimi ni mwalimu, ninafundisha elimu ya kompyuta. And the students just exploded into applause. And I was so deeply moved by their expression of appreciation.
That you spoke to them in Swahili.
Yes. That I decided I wanted to do something for them and come back and spend more time with them. And so I have a computer consulting business here in New York City, and I decided I would go home and raise money and buy computers and come back and spend a month teaching them how to use the computers. And then I learned the school had no electricity.
Oh, wow. Right. So you did go home. You did raise some money, a modest sum, not a lot. And did you take the computers with you?
Well, because they didn't have electricity, the first thing I did was I went back a year later and took one laptop with 2 long-life batteries. And the headmaster would take it home every night and recharge both batteries and come back to the school, and then they would use the computer. That's the one life.
Right. That's the one laptop you took.
Right.
And this is the group using the one laptop. Oh my gosh.
And most of these,
had they ever seen a computer before?
No, most of them had never even seen a computer before.
2 batteries charged every night. Mm-hmm. Just shows you what one person can do. Okay. So now continue your story.
Well, so then I went home and I decided if I wanted to bring more computers, I would need to give them a solar energy system. So I raised money for that, and that was installed in November of 2007. And then I got
That's pretty ambitious, a solar energy system.
Well, it was the only way to get electricity to the school. They didn't have electrical lines.
So how do you install a solar energy system?
Well, the safari company that I had gone on my safari with, they recommended a local solar energy provider in Tanzania.
Right.
So I worked with them.
Okay. So then that allowed you to bring more computers.
Right. And then I got a very generous donation from a friend, and that enabled me to buy a computer network, 5 computers, a server, a printer. And so I went back in the spring of 2008.
With 5 computers, a server, and a printer. Mm-hmm. Okay, keep going. This is very modest, but look, imagine what you did.
And so then I managed the installation of that computer network. And then I started giving more classes to the teachers and the students. And then the school...
And the teachers learned?
The teachers learned too. Mm-hmm.
Now, what did you do about the language skills?
Well, I had studied some Swahili, and I continued to study my Swahili, so I could...
And were the computer programs available in Swahili?
No, they're in English. But
so how did you manage that?
Well, the secondary schools, this is a high school, secondary school, and they're taught in English.
Okay.
The books are all in English. Some of the kids do struggle with the English language, but they knew enough to get by, and with my little bit of Swahili, we managed fine.
Isn't that something? Okay, so you had 5, and that program is still alive and well.
Oh yes, as a matter of fact, I went back last June to conduct like a summer computer camp. The school was closed for the month, so I went back and we gave them intensive technology training, and I had 2 volunteers from America, 2 PhD in computer science candidates helping me, and also the local teachers were helping me. And after I left, the local Tanzanian teachers took the technology education ball and just ran with it, and they've been continuing the education. Yeah. They did another session in September, another in December, and they're just finishing one tomorrow, another one.
And you donate your services, or you get a very small compensation?
I have donated all of my services up to this point.
And all this work that you did was really with a very modest budget, right?
Very modest.
Very
yes.
modest. I mean, I read something. I mean, it was surprisingly modest. I kept looking at it to see if I was reading the numbers correctly. Overall, I mean, I saw
Well, so far I did all of that with $27,000 of donations.
It's amazing that you were able to do so much with 27. It just shows you the will of an individual.
Well, also I had a lot of people helping me. I've had highly qualified people volunteering their services, and that's been a major contribution.
Yeah. Tell us a little something about the country and its education system, so we have a frame of reference for all of this.
Well, primary education is mandatory in Tanzania, and after primary school, all the kids take a national exam. If they do well on that exam, then they are allowed to go to secondary school. If there is a secondary school in their area, then they can go to school, and the kids love school. And the parents make great sacrifices to send their kids to school because public school in Tanzania is not free to the families. They have to pay a school fee, they have to buy uniforms for the students, they need to buy books.
In this picture that you brought in, this one has you in it, you can see that they're all dressed in some kind of a uniform.
Mm-hmm. And some kids walk 5, 6, 7 miles one way to get to school. That's how eager they are to get an education.
But this program, in fact, you have something called a technology tent.
Yes, the technology tent is our flagship program for Powering Potential. It's a solar-powered computer lab with training. It's a 3-phase program. First we install the solar power, then the computer lab, and then the training. And that's what we did at this one school, and now we want to replicate that model at other schools in Tanzania.
How did you come up with the name Powering Potential? That's a terrific name.
Oh, thank you. Well, I just thought to myself, I wanted the name to express what it was I was doing. So I asked myself, what is it that you're doing? And that's what I'm doing, trying to do.
It's not, in fact, you brought with you a statement from one of the teachers, and I'm going to read it from it. I think is it a woman that wrote this?
No, gentleman.
That the technology tent has been like a light to the kids. It isn't that they just learn computer. They learn great changes. And I think that word great changes, it opened up something, right?
Well, yes, he's saying that before I came to the school, the students didn't know anything about computers, and now they can enter information into the computer and print with their own hands. And yes, these are great changes, he says.
These are great changes.
And he also mentioned that it gives them the feeling that they can face the challenges being brought by science and technology.
They're able to face the challenges that are brought by science and technology. You know, kids today in the U.S., I mean, I've read that they spend as much as 7 to 9 hours a day iming, texting, looking, watching. It's hard to realize that there are places on planet Earth where this is not available at all.
That's right. As I said, most of these kids had never seen a computer before I brought one to Tanzania. And now they have the opportunity to learn computer skills, and when they graduate from high school and go on to college, they need to use a computer when they get to college. And if they don't pass the national exam and don't have the opportunity to go on to college, this will give them an opportunity to, get a job if they have computer skills.
Yeah. It's almost as though something like this, Janice, could be franchised for other countries throughout the world.
Well, I have gotten requests to do it in other countries, and eventually we will expand.
It just might be something that you turn into an expanded career for yourself.
Well, I would like to expand to other countries and just keep growing the project.
Right. So when you are here, how do you depend on the teachers in Tanzania to carry forth?
Well, I'm communicating with them regularly. I email with them, I text message with them on cell phones, I call them. So I'm in constant contact with the headmaster, Justin Joseph, and Alban Matthias. He's the teacher at the Benjika school.
How many computers are in Tanzania now, in total?
In Tanzania?
Yeah,
the whole
it's under your
my
watch.
project?
Yeah.
We have about, 9.
9. But it's amazing what 9 have done, right? 9 have opened up options for how many kids?
The school has 565 students, boys and girls, and it really has opened up their imaginations, what they understand to be possible for themselves in their lives.
So what do they do, group around one computer?
Oh, yes.
I mean, we saw it here. Yeah, I'm going to hold this up again. How many kids do you have here around one?
I am probably about 30. There's
yeah,
other
it looks about
pictures.
25, 30. Yeah.
When I first brought that computer to the school, I mean, that's one picture.
This was number one, yeah.
And then I set it on a table once, and there's another picture with all the kids standing on chairs and tables trying to look at the computer. It's been amazing.
It's a true labor of love.
It is a labor of love for me.
Right. So your consulting business here in New York is alive and well?
Yes, it is.
Is it with companies, or tell us a little bit about that piece of your life?
Well, I teach at Baruch 2 afternoons a week, and then I also go into small companies and individuals and teach them how to use the computer. Yeah. But actually, I'm wanting to transition away from that and make Powering Potential my life's work now.
Right, and that's what we talked about before.
Yes.
Right. Well, I think what you do is certainly to be blessed.
Oh,
to be
thank
blessed.
you.
And I know just you're talking about it, it must have been very rewarding to you.
It's been deeply fulfilling, deeply fulfilling. I love the Tanzanian people.
What made you go to Tanzania? Just because of the safari?
Yes, I wanted to see the animals. Since I was a young girl, I wanted to go to Tanzania, to the Serengeti, and the majority of the Serengeti is in Tanzania, and I wanted to see the animals living freely. And so that's why I went to Tanzania, but when I was there, it was the people. I mean, the animals were great, but it was the people who drew me back. They're so warm and gracious. And for example, in Swahili, there's no word for stranger.
Oh, really?
Doesn't that tell you a lot about the culture?
It certainly does. Everybody's a friend.
Yes. They use the word mgeni, which means guest.
Yes, yeah.
And they really value cooperation over competition.
And they're very peace-loving people.
Very peace-loving. They really embody that. It was because of their first leader, Julius Nyerere. So
what they see what they have access on, is it the full internet?
At the school, there's one computer that has access to the internet, and one project I'm working on right now and seeking funding for is to put up a satellite dish at the school so that all of the computers can have access to the internet.
So can they Google, for example?
They can Google, they can go on Wikipedia, they can go on a Swahili English dictionary.
Yeah. I'm not so sure that some of this is going to keep them so friendly. They may see things there that they don't know even exist.
Well, we have a policy in place to keep out undesirable websites. Oh. That's very important to me.
That is important, right. Yeah. Well, it seems like you've covered all bases. Yeah. I like your story very much, and certainly what you do is something that all of us can look up to and admire. Oh. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm Judith West. We're watching the introduction of computers. Yes, the introduction of the 21st century in Tanzania. Thanks for watching.